I'm gonna have to start saying that. This is
Yeah,
true. They're all
they're
good.
all good. They're all good dogs, Bront. Stupid bits. Bront. Okay. Let me do this. Let me pop up this guy.
Okay.
This. The
That.
rotting room. That. This. I loved it. It's disgusting.
Thank you.
I have been. One of my friends just finished Starving Saints. Another nun, the depraved nun book.
That one is a
Basically.
great one. I loved that book.
I have yet to read it. It's literally on. I mean, I have so many books. Starting a podcast where I have to read a bunch of books really makes my life hard, and I'm reading other books. Maybe I'll get on. I'll get Caitlin Starling onto the podcast so I can have an excuse to push it to the front of the line.
Yeah.
But I've been suggesting. I was like, you need to read Rotting Room. You need to read that next. If you loved, they loved Starving Saints, so they're like, I'm like, you should go read Rotting Room. It's disgusting. And that, I mean that in the best way, but it is.
Oh, I take that as a compliment. Okay. I really do.
It is very gross. It's a very gross book. I mean, it's called The Rotting Room.
You know what you're getting into.
I think you put a video out the other day where you're like, it's called The Rotting Room. What do you expect out of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what's on the tin.
Mm-hmm.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Thank you.
There's lots of. I didn't really intend to do this, but it feels like I'm just reading lots of religious horror. I mean,
it's been really popular lately.
Yeah, I put out one too this year, so I'm part of the problem. I have so many questions for you, but I'm going to try and keep them contained.
I'm ready for it.
Yeah. God, the rot, the entropy, there's so much of it. And it's like not even. It's and it, like yes, it's easy to be like, well, yeah, rotting bodies are gross. It's not that's simple, but it's also the fact that it ties into this basically guilt of having a body, of just and tying that into the guilt of religion, which I love. I love that in basically any story I read. I plug this on a previous episode, but have you ever read a comic book called Upgrade Soul?
I have not.
A graphic novel, whatever you want to call it. I plug it. I love it. But it's all about like the human body and the frailty of it, and also about how it ties into our own identities. But like I have some quotes like, the irrepressible corporeality of my body embarrassed me. You wrote that. You're like, oh yeah, I did do that. And like the book presents this overwhelming pressure. Like I feel it. It's even regardless of which perspective character you're in, you feel like this pressure. And it's a lot of it's guilt, but a lot of it is just about being human, about having, sin. The nuns embody this like in corruption in a lot of ways. We can't escape entropy, right? Humans can't escape entropy. We can't escape rot. We, by nature. Does that echo Rafaela's journey through religion, through life? Is like she can't escape entropy, even despite the fact, and like I don't know, the pursuit of religion to try and escape the rot and entropy, but then back to this corner.
That's a great question. I think there's actually a lot of body horror in religion. Think just about the Eucharist. And Catholics believe you are literally eating the body of Christ and drinking his blood. I'm not Catholic, and I mean, I find that not horrifying. I don't want to be, sacrilegious, but it's something to think about.
I did read your book.
Yeah, well, that's true. Maybe I am trying to be sacrilegious. But I mean, I think rot is something, if you're looking at it from a purely biological perspective, rot is great. If we didn't have rot, there would just be dead bodies all over the place. Nobody wants that. And yet at the same time, we see rot as something horrible, something that makes us dirty and nasty. And I really wanted people to have to think about it. I wanted to confront you so hard with this. So you have to think about, what are my own prejudices and why do I think decay and rot are so horrible and so gross? Because on one end, yes, we want them to be gross. to some extent. We need that kind of instinctive because we don't want to get too close to bodies, because who knows, if somebody died of sickness, you could get sick too, which if you've read The Rotting Room, that
I
is
was
something
gonna.
you have to think
I
about.
have the coughs. God,
Yeah.
believe we're gonna get to the coughing.
Yes. So, I mean, I think it's an interesting question to think about how rot is perceived, because on the one end, we need rot in the world. We need it. It is a necessary, I don't even think it's an evil. It's just a necessary thing. But at the same time, we kind of have to depict it as something gross, as part of our own self-preservation. So there's, like you said, that constant pressure that's coming about just thinking about what is rot and why does it matter.
Yeah, I mean, it's omnipresent, and I mean, I think it ties back into that guilt, that pressure
Mm-hmm.
of, oh, this is bad.
Yeah.
Because it represents humanity,
Mm-hmm.
right? And like the religion in, is Catholicism, I mean, basically most world religions, or at least Western religions, tie back into, no, the body is bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's full of sin,
Mm-hmm.
and then therefore rot is bad
Mm-hmm.
because it it's sinful to be human.
Yeah.
Um, Also, rot effectively becomes a weapon
Mm-hmm.
in the book as well. Not to put too much. I mean, I don't think that's a spoiler, really.
No, not at all.
No, yeah. I'm going to try and dance around. I always try and dance around spoilers because, hey, if you're this far in this podcast, go read The Rotting Room.
Yeah,
And
go read
go
it.
read The Rotting Room. You should read it. I'm not. I don't think that's. I don't know. It feels like I've seen your book on social media all the time anyway. So I feel like anyone who's already watching this should already know about the book, but they should go
We
read
know.
it. I'm going to tell you. Sound. We're talking about sound. Coughing.
Mhm.
God Almighty. I think that's the thing I took away from the book the most, honestly, because it's a good story, and the rot is really gross. I read a lot of gross stuff.
Mhm.
It's more how you use sound in the
Hmm.
book. That is really, it was my favorite thing because it's a
Oh,
thing that
cool.
and then I think I've said this. Selfishly, this podcast, I'm trying to, learn, be better, be a better writer, learn, poke at all these other people. And this book, what I really took away mostly was how to use sound again to create that atmosphere, or even in this case, lack of sound.
Mhm.
Because it's vow of silence. It's an abbey, and they don't talk for 23 hours a day, and it's masterful. We'll
Thank
compliment you.
you.
Because whenever there is sound in the book, it immediately stands out. And immediately you take notice as a reader. The bells, whenever Jesus Christ, poor Raffaella, whenever she breathes, it feels like she's like, oh no, I breathed it too loud. I'm like, oh my gosh. But I mean, vows of silence in religious orders
Mhm.
is centuries old. Which of those came first in the book? I know that religious orders use vows of silence. How can I
Mhm.
implement in the book? Or was it the fact that Raphael has secrets, and she
Mhm.
is learning things about the order, awful bad things that she
Mhm.
can't say? Was chicken and egg? Was it all at once?
The vow of silence definitely came first, and I'll give
Okay.
you a little bit of historical background. So, the rotting room was a real thing. I discovered that was the genesis for the story. It was called a putridarium, which is a fun word to say.
It is
And it
really
was this
good.
group of actually poor Clare nuns in Ischia, Italy in the 17th century. They had this stone room rimmed with holes, and they would put their dead nuns on there to drain. When their bodies kind of fell away, they would take the bones to the ossuary. But they would go and pray over these bodies while they decomposed, and then whatever killed those dead nuns got them sick too. And when I read about this, I was like, that's a horror story right there. And because I was kind of basing it off of the Poor Clares, I researched their entire order, and they really do have a vow of silence. So the vow of silence came first, and then actually it was very difficult to create a gripping story that had extremely limited dialogue. So the vow came first, and then that was a fun challenge for me as a writer to weave in everything else. And I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I think the vow of silence helped make it a much more tense atmosphere.
I Yes, I yeah, it's because every sound is, and then like because you're it I don't know, it is not quite a single location
Mhm.
story, but it's mostly a single location story, and you feel like you're trapped in that. Again, it's that again, the feeling of that pressure
Mhm.
is not just the human body, it's the sound too.
Sure.
It's that the silence of utter silence of every, and when that coughing starts near the 2/3 of the way story through the story, and then that's even worse because the silence is now replaced with racking coughs, which
Yes.
I don't know. Is that how much did pandemic stuff enter into that at all
Mm.
when you were writing? Because
Yeah.
when I, maybe that's just me, but during the worst days of the pandemic, you would go out in public, and whenever you hear someone cough or sneeze, you're like, what? Are you,
Yeah.
and was that on your mind at all while you were writing it?
Well, I wrote this in 2021, and so, I mean, the pandemic was still going on, but I think a lot of the worst parts were behind us, and I am kind of always thinking about disease.
I know you're
Yes,
epidemiologist,
I trained as
right?
an epidemiologist,
Yeah.
so that's kind of something that I always think about, and I went into that partly because I love science, but partly because I'm a germaphobe, and it was kind of a know your enemy situation. So when the pandemic hit, I was just thinking, now everybody's thinking like me. Now everybody is terrified of coughs and germs and thinking, let's wash our hands and wear masks. So it was kind of validating. But when it came time to think about putting this in the book, I thought that would be a great way, like you said, to add sound. And also, I think the sound of coughing is horrible. I hate it. So I was like, if this bothers me, it's probably going to bother other people.
I mean, I think it didn't bother me nearly as much as since the pandemic. The
Mhm.
pandemic, as it wasn't a thing I ever thought about.
Yeah.
Um, and now, whenever I was on an airplane a month ago or whatever, and there's someone 15 rows up, and they have a
Mhm.
racking wet cough, and you're like, well, at least they're over there,
Yeah.
right? Like it's
Mhm.
not someone next to me, but it is like that. Like you immediately are like, every time you hear it, you tense up, and you're like, well,
Mhm.
actually, I know, and yeah, I know airplanes they filter the air. When you're in the air, you're actually relatively safe,
Mhm.
but it is still the pandemic. I think programmed me, and I'm not the only one. There's certainly I feel like anyone in my circles. They're always like, whenever we are more aware of
Mhm.
sickness now,
For
not
sure.
even just COVID, but a cold. Everyone's like, oh, I have a cold, I'm gonna stay home. I don't
Yes.
want to be coughing on people. Uh, but that sound again, the sound of coughs in this release, and I think you juxtapose it
Mhm.
against the silence that starts the story. Um, Mother Superior. I have questions about Mother Superior.
Let's hear them.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's I guess it's one big question that I have like little tiny questions nested inside, but it like speaks to, it's a book set in an abbey.
Mhm.
There's basically like one real male character.
Mhm.
Father Bruno. Everyone else is female characters. Um, and again, pressure. I want to. I the patriarchy, right? The patriarchal, both society and religion, Catholicism, and most
Mhm.
Western religions are also patriarchal. Um, but when you set a story in an abbey or a nunnery or whatever, and yeah, it's layered out, especially when menstruation comes into the story, and your woman's curse,
Mhm.
that kind of thing. But in that same regard, the villain, the antagonists, if you want to call it, our mother superior, uh and I will I won't tip my hat, but the other antagonist, just to
Yes.
avoid a spoiler.
Our stranger friend. Yes.
Yes, exactly. The other one antagonist we meet, which is, it's a little bit more nebulous as well,
Mhm.
but is certainly embodied by a female,
Mhm.
a woman. Was that was there like? because the whole book is, I don't know, it does feel like it's embodying like patriarchy just is again a constant pressure on there,
Mhm.
and yet this main one of your two main antagonists are women.
Mhm.
Is that conscious effort as like, oh, they are vehicles of this patriarchy, they're fulfilling that role of the patriarchy, or is it more just like, well, they are carriers of this power of religion and I can't get around this?
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, I
Okay.
knew I wanted Mother Superior to be authoritative and firm. I mean, yes, Father Bruno is there, but this is her show that she's running,
Yeah,
and you know that
she's in
phrase.
charge. There's no
Yeah,
doubt about that from
and
the
the phrase, you know,
beginning.
"Absolute power corrupts absolutely." She has been corrupted by that, and then I won't give any spoilers either, but it only gets worse.
Hmm.
But in terms of thinking about the patriarchy, when I first wrote this, it was a novella. It was like 45,000 words, and Father Bruno wasn't in it at all. And then I thought, let's try and make this a little longer. So I added in his perspective, and I'm really glad I did. I think it gave more to the book. But originally, it was just only going to be women. So it was kind of a necessity just because of the historical context, but also, yeah, for sure, they're embodying the patriarchy and the corrupting influence of power, especially in religious hierarchies.
Yeah, there. I mean, again, it. I don't know. It, calling someone mother superior in general, like that term. I'm not Catholic, but it is like immediately evokes that sense of evil. I don't know why. Like I don't think of, because it's such overtly absurd, like of just like calling someone a mother superior
Mhm.
is, and I know it's, I assume it's a common term. I've seen it in,
Yeah.
I guess I've seen it in pop culture so much that I just kind of accept it. But it's like both embodying like, oh yes, this the superior mother, the best one, and you're like
Mhm.
the top. The we are
Mhm.
in that this absolute display of ego and power. Yeah, but it is. I mean, I also love any kind of story that is all one gender. Like I love The Thing, and it's all
Oh,
men. I
great.
love The Descent, and
Yes.
it's all women. I love that idea where you're splitting off, the binary and
Mhm.
forcing, and but still demonstrating kind of gender roles, despite the fact
Mhm.
that there's only one. And then and you see that in your book as well, where it's like
Mhm.
Mother Superior and, oh, what's her little sidekick? Why can't I always forget the
Sister
sidekick's name?
Leona.
Leona. Yeah.
Leonella.
Leah,
Sorry.
well, yes, but again, she's, they are embodying this kind of patriarchal role,
Mhm.
despite the fact that there's men are kind of absent, at least.
Absent from the inner circle.
Yeah, because I mean, they're in letters, they're there. Like again, there's this pressure, right?
Mhm.
It's like it's a looming above the rest of the book.
Mhm.
Um, and I often I want to, like, it's always, those are my own questions whenever I'm writing, is like the
Mhm.
theme of like, is it okay to have this female character embody like this patriarchal idea?
Mhm.
Is that conflicting at all? Is like that? I'm like,
Mhm.
no, I don't. Ultimately, I go, no, it's
Yeah,
not. But it is, makes me question it a little bit. I'm like, I don't want to cross, you know, conflict. I want my themes to mesh.
I get that. I mean, I wasn't
Yeah.
really conflicted about making her the way she was because our main character, Rafaela, and this is not a spoiler, very indecisive, afraid to follow her gut. And if we had a benevolent mother superior, she'd be like,
No.
oh, well, maybe I can, voice my opinions and do what I think is right and everything will be okay. But you want to be like, no, you are in a place where one person has the most power and nobody else really matters. You follow blindly. And I think sometimes that's the kind of nasty side of organized religion that we see sometimes is the blind following despite what you think might be right. So Mother Superior is kind of just an embodiment of that.
Yeah. I was gonna ask again about where did you have any doubt about like the Hamlet of it all, of Raffaella being this indecisive
Not
protagonist?
really. I mean, I was
Okay.
pretty clear on who she was going to be. And because I want my reader to feel unstable and insecure and not sure what is real, I want
Mission
you to have that
accomplished.
experience. Yeah.
I mean, I feel, and I think the Father Bruno chapters also kind of, because for most of the story, I am firmly on Team Raphael. I'm like, no, I think she actually did see everything. I just
Mhm.
go like, I'm gonna commit. I believe her. And then you get Father Bruno, and he's like, she's a little crazy. And like, I'm like, is she though? Maybe she is. I mean, because he doesn't really have skin in the game necessarily. He's
Right.
relatively neutral. Is that the idea? Like you wanted a more neutral observer
Yeah.
when you added those chapters?
I wanted him to be kind of a neutral observer, and also he's a safe place for her because she has nobody to confide in.
That's
And she
true.
feels like she can confide in him. So we get some more of her feelings and her backstory, and also the opinion of somebody who is not enmeshed in the nun situation.
Yeah, it's and there again, and you do use him to further like
Mhm.
the both the kind of male gaze a little bit,
Yeah.
because it's attractive to Raffaella, but it's also like again his more guilt, more pressure. I have feelings.
Mhm.
I want things. I have sin. I'm evil.
Mhm.
It's more and more of that. It's very good. Um, Well, I was like looking at I just look at whenever I'm just looking at the scale, throw my quotes, my little highlights on my Kindle. Oh, you did teach me a word, onanism.
Oh, yes, that's a fun
I
one.
yeah, it is fun. But I had never I'd never heard of it before. I'm at least not I've never heard of that word, and
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, that's good.
Yeah,
Oh,
feel free to use it, in polite
yeah,
conversation.
pass. Yeah, all the time. I'm gonna throw out onanism to all my friends next time I go out for a drink.
Absolutely.
We're gonna talk all about onanism. Um, the detail of the that poor, I don't beg whatever that side character that it the with the that only has an index finger and a thumb.
Oh, yes, the villager.
Yeah, that is grisly. I love it. These are me just throwing out compliments to you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Um, warmth came only from the devil. I really do like the fire and the heat tying back in together. Very good.
Thank you.
Um, I don't have any more big questions. I could just compliment the book for forever, but
Really?
I've been suggesting it for others. But we can. It's about time anyway to move on to the second act. You ready? Ready for
Ready.
this? Ready for the second act? Okay.
Yes.
This is just broader questions, bookish, writing ish questions. My first question is going to be from my last guest, Cassandra Celia, who asks you in all your books, what's the most you thing in them that maybe not even other people would know, only you know because they're yours.
I love that question. Okay. So my second book, I'm just going to show it. I have it here, is called Much Too Vulgar. And this one is the most me. It is about a pre med student who's very disturbed. And when she doesn't get into this research program, she kind of goes off the rails. And there's the most of me in that character because I think we all have these nasty little thoughts that run through our head. I hope I'm not the only one.
We all have
And,
them. Yes.
and I just gave all of them to this character. And everybody's like, but she's horrible. I'm like, well, yeah, we all have a little horrible person living inside us, but I'm nice. So I put her in my book. And I think that's kind of my version of therapy. So I am in that book the most, but I am not the main character. They're just pieces of me in the main
Yeah.
character.
I mean, I think that's all characters. You're always channeling, the worst version of
You have
yourself for
to.
yeah, it's again, it's fiction.
And it's horror. It has
Yeah,
to be horrifying.
it has to be full send.
Mhm.
Uh, I will ask you for your question for my next guest at the end of this segment.
Okay.
So it's Alma Katsu to tip my
Oh,
hand.
I love her. Okay, cool.
Yes. So I'll come back around so you can be thinking about that in the
I'm thinking
background.
about that.
Um, what is your grammar hot take, if you have one?
I love an M dash and I love an Oxford comma. And I will
Okay,
die on both of those hills.
I'm with you. I'm with you on both accounts. I hate the fact that now like people are like, oh, they use M dashes, they used AI.
Oh, I
I'm like,
know. I'm like,
are you just I think the problem is most of these people don't read fiction. They don't read
mhm,
book. They read websites. They
mhm.
don't read books, and they're like, I don't know. Every author I know loves M dashes.
I know they're great. They're so much better than a semicolon. They're everything I need.
They're perfect. Yes,
Mm,
I usually have to remove like 50 of them from every
same.
book I read. I'm like, there's like, okay, I like them. I don't need this many. Come on, Robbie, dial it back a little bit. Um, who's a writer more people should be reading?
Oof. I'm going to go with Haley Newland. She has another book. I don't know when this is going to air, but she has another book coming out on October 14th called The Film You Are About to See. I got to be an ARC reader and I blurbed it, and it was fabulous and so much fun. So I think more people should read her.
Okay, she was my second guest, so we're getting
Oh, yeah?
lots of love for Haley. Yeah, and I have also read the book, and it is also very good. I really liked it a lot.
Right on.
And also, I did want to mention, now that you bring that up, that's a good thing for me to mention because a lot of hysteria in that book.
Mm-hmm.
And I now I don't know if it's because I read that book first, but now every multiple books since I've read for this podcast, including yours, hysteria has showed up, and I go, this, again, something in the air.
It's a fun thing to play with, for sure.
Yeah. Um, what's the best piece of advice you followed?
Okay, so when I first started writing, I did what I think most people do is word vomit on the page, see what happens, practice, get better. And as a result, I've tried lots of different outlining methods. I pantsed my first book, then I plotted lightly, and then I heavily plotted. And now I've kind of come full circle and I'm back to pantsing. So I think my advice would be just experiment and see what works for you, because I have found that the books I have pantsed so much better than the ones that I've outlined. I mean, I go back and revise them extensively, but the ones I've pantsed have needed way less revision, way more fun to write, and I think they're more fun to read.
Okay, it's interesting. the, I mean, it's the Jeff Vandermeer. He says that because there is that divide, like, oh, are you a
Mhm,
pantser, are you a plotter? And I personally, I'm like in the middle ish, more plot than pants, but not. I'm not. I don't write 30,000 word outlines or something.
mhm.
But Jeff Vandermeer says there's no such thing. There's no. It's not a binary, and there's only. He says there's only outlines because if you're pantsing, your first draft is your outline. That's what he says.
That's a good
And I go,
point.
and I go, that's interesting. I don't know if I agree with you, but I do think it's pretty interesting to think about that. I can't
Yeah.
pants. I can't do it. At least not strictly. I've tried. It just doesn't. The book doesn't happen. Uh, what's a book that rips out your heart?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I just read one. It doesn't come out until January. It's called This House Will Feed by Maria Thoreau. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but it's set during the Great Hunger in Ireland. And I
Ooh,
cried. It absolutely ripped my heart out. It's a ghost story, it has folk horror elements. I mean, it was so good.
that
And it,
that
it
sounds very
pained me
good.
deeply.
That sounds really good. When you say, "Oh, it's set during the Hungers," I'm like, "Oh no, that's gonna
Yeah.
be bad.
Yeah.
That's really bad."
Really bad.
Oh boy. Who are you jealous of?
Oh, I don't think I'm necessarily jealous of anybody because I mean, you're a writer too. We love to learn from other people. So I think if I see somebody that wrote a book that I loved, I'm like, I want to be able to do that. I want to read that and learn how I can do that. So anytime somebody writes something better than me, I'm like, that's great. That means there's nowhere for me to go but up, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you ask me who am I jealous of, I could give you like 50 names. I could give you immediately. Right immediately I'd be like I would say I'm jealous of you because I
Oh,
can't write sound. I've never written like again, I think that's a thing that again, read this book I could let me I need to use sound more. I feel like it can be a very effective mechanism.
we're constantly learning. That's the point.
Yes. I mean, it's I think most writers would echo that. Like I'm jealous of basically every book. Every time I read a new book and I love it, I go, man, I want to do that. Looking at all my what's a word you hate? I love this question.
Hmm. Most people would say moist. That's the first one that comes to mind, but I actually love that word because I love to gross people out.
Okay.
I guess the bane of my existence would be that. I use it way too
Yeah.
much, and I usually, when I go back and I'm self-editing, I'm thinking, "I didn't need that, nor did I need that." And so that's what I end up taking out the most.
Yeah. I do a that check every book.
Yep.
I'm just control F. Oh my God, 250 that's. Oh no. Let's go through them.
Mhm.
I don't need, is that a load bearing that? Or is that not? Sometimes they are, and you're like, well,
Sometimes they are.
sometimes they are, and then you're like, do I want to keep it? Do I have to rephrase this whole sentence?
Mhm.
Um, what is your favorite thing to write?
Like, are we talking about genre or
It could,
type?
your favorite type of scene, your favorite genre, your favorite type of
Mhm.
character,
Hmm.
anything. However you'd like to answer it.
I love body horror. I find that no matter what I'm doing, it always comes back to that because, I have that biological background.
Right.
So, I mean, for most of my books, I read several scientific papers. I have one coming out in January where I ended up deep into neuroscience articles and articles about, brain research, and they were fascinating. So, anytime I can get really deep and use the training I have that I don't get to use as much as I'd like, that's what I love.
That's very I I'm like the opposite where I'm like I don't research anything. I'm just like, does it sound good enough? Does it sound like it's like I don't write science heavy books most of the time. I think I wrote one and I go, I hope no one digs too deep on the science because it's not. I guess I've done two books that are like leaning into the one where they about regrowing limbs.
Mm.
It like one layer deep, it holds up.
Mhm.
But if you dig deep, this is not. This is it's techno babble. It doesn't make any sense. No real scientists would talk about this stuff like this. I think I know well enough that I'm not a real scientist, which is I think the only thing going for me. Um, I'm now immediately interested. I mean, I was going to be interested in the next book, whatever. Anyway, but now you're like, oh, as neuroscience, I'm like, what does that mean?
Do you want I could tell you more.
Tell me more. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yes.
So this next book, it's with my cover designer now, so I'm very excited. It's called A Veritable Household Pet, and it's about a patient who gets a transorbital lobotomy at the age of 11.
Oh
And it's kind of
gosh,
her story along with the story of her sister, who is her caretaker and kind of reluctant scribe. And it's told from both of their perspectives kind of at the same time. And
that's
it's super
incredible.
fun to write, like super dark. It's more character driven and inspired by very true events. So that when I say that I did a lot of research for that, I did a lot of research
Is
about the brain.
this JFK, Kennedy family stuff
Yeah,
connected to
Rosemary
this?
Kennedy had a
Yes, I was
lobotomy.
gonna
Mhm.
say, yeah. I did I had a short-lived cult movie podcast, and we watched Grey Gardens,
Mm,
and it's same that same kind of generational where it's like this weird, again, shame and pressure and guilt based on women
mm.
of that. Okay, I'm on board. You're coming back. I want you back for that book too.
I'll be here.
Okay, awesome. I mean, people should buy books. I think that's the ultimately. I'm like, go people buy people's books, support them. You have a question? You have a question ready? Have you stormed up anything?
Yes, I don't know if this is a great one because I love Alma Katsu. I actually read The Hunger on my honeymoon,
Oh
which
wow.
I know. People think that's an odd choice. I read horror. I read American
I,
Psycho on the beach. Like, come on.
I mean, it's again. I call my books beach reads, and people are like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Well, they're page turners, right? Like, come
If it's
on,
a book
yeah,
and you are on a
yeah.
beach, then it's a beach read.
Okay, fair enough.
Yes, but for Alma Katsu, who I love, I guess my question would be, she has a lot of books based on real historical events. So how do you handle bringing in accurate history while also fictionalizing it and creating a story around it? I mean, I try to do that with Rotting Room, and I've done that with other books as well. And I always find it interesting to see what people's process is for that. Like, how much research do you do? How many liberties do you take? So that was a very long-winded question, but
I,
that's my question.
I mean, it's great. Sounds like a great question to me. I'm already interested in her answer. Um, let's do one more of these.
Okay.
Do you believe in writer's block?
I believe in it. It has not happened to me, knock on wood. But if anything, I have too many ideas and not enough time. So I think honestly, if I had more time, maybe I would experience writer's block. But as it is, I mean, like I said, I have 2 kids under the age of 4. And when they're at school or they're occupied, I am doing what needs to be done. I don't have time to sit here and be like, oh no, I can't think of anything. Because if I just start writing, something will happen. You may have to edit it out a ton, but you're going to make forward progress. So I believe it's a thing for some people. I'm just lucky enough not to have experienced it.
I echo everything you say. It's the I don't know. I think about when I was literally thinking about this yesterday. I'm riding my stationary bike, am I doing my exercise, and I feel like crap, and I feel like I'm going slow. And then at the end, I look at how much time I've done, how much distance I've gone, and I go, it's maybe a little bit less than I normally would, but it's not a lot less. And I'm like, on bad writing days, as long as I put the time in and I write, when I edit this in a year or whatever, in 6 months, will I know that was a bad writing day? No,
That's a good point.
probably not. I probably won't know. I'll have forgotten that was a bad writing day.
Mm-hmm.
I still put words out.
Yeah.
They're still good. They're still fine. You might have to edit them, revise them more than you normally would. All right. Time for our last segment. Are you ready for blood, Viggy?
I'm always ready for blood.
Okay, good. That is the right answer. This is where we talk about trouble, problems with a work in progress, or either work in progress or something that you've already published, whatever you're comfortable with. Some people don't want to talk about stuff they're working on, which is fine. What do you got?
Just in general, trouble.
Well, okay. What are you working on now? Are you having any trouble with what you're working on now?
So I mentioned A Veritable Household Pet is with Blair Burrs and my cover designer, so that's pretty much done. I am editing something I wrote last year, and this comes back to the plotting versus pantsing. So before this last book that's coming out in January, totally pantsed. Before that, I plotted a couple of books. One of them I have completely thrown to the wayside. It's not good enough, not salvageable. This one I'm editing now was also plotted, and I just don't know how I feel about it. This is why I've gone back to pantsing, because the plotted ones feel like I'm writing towards, a specific conclusion. Like this needs to happen instead of letting the characters kind of decide how things need to unfold. Now, I'm still trying to decide if this is going to come out or if I'm going to push it aside. I'm about halfway through editing and I like it, but it's not totally there yet. But I mean, we all need editing, of course, but it's difficult to decide when to put something aside forever or just for now, or trudge forward and try and make it work. So that's where I'm at.
So it's the question of, is this good enough to publish?
Is it good enough to publish, and is it worth the effort to make it good enough to publish if it's not?
It is a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. When you're outlining, do you adhere strictly to that outline? You never, reorient, you never change course?
I will reorient sometimes, but for the most part, I stick to it, because back when I wrote this book, I was doing the kind of take your pants off method, which is, it's an outline, but it's not, as strict or as long as what some people do. But, you're hitting beats, you're hitting,
Right.
you want certain things to happen at certain times. And I thought through that. And then as I started writing, the characters don't always do what you want them to do. They don't always act the way you think they're going to act. And sometimes events can feel shoehorned in when they shouldn't be there, and it doesn't feel as sparkly. I talked to somebody else about this, and they said, well, when you write the outline, it's like you've already told yourself the story. So when you're writing the actual novel, it feels like you're retelling yourself. It doesn't feel as exciting or as interesting. And that is definitely how I feel when I do outline, which is why I am no longer going to outline.
It's the excitement.
It's the excitement. I want to be surprised. I want the characters to kind of guide me. I think that's way more fun, and it feels more authentic for me. And I know before I was thinking, I just want to be efficient. I want to get a novel out and have a first draft done in 8 weeks. And now I'm thinking, I have more time. Let's do this the way that feels most natural to me.
I mean, I think that's ultimately what we're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Every writer, we're like, what makes the best story that I'm excited about and that I want to share with other people.
Mm-hmm.
I will outline. I've gotten to the point where I do outline, but I almost always, at this point, I'm like leaving the last third of a book very broad.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'd be like, oh, these are rough. I know an ending probably.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I know that by the time I get to this point, I am going to have swerved a little bit.
Mhm.
I'm gonna move off to this side. Like, it's not quite pantsing still. It's really is still following the basic parts of my outline, but a character will have gone. I'll be like, oh, this needs to happen way earlier in the book, which
Mhm.
means everything else I've outlined it later is not going to make any sense.
Sure.
Or this character is way more interesting doing that versus this.
Mhm.
Um, but again, it's back to what you said, where it's like, I don't know. I consider outlining writing still. I don't know. There's
Mhm.
people who don't consider the outline part of writing, and I'm like, no, it's all writing to me. Like,
For sure.
even when I'm thinking about it, I'm still
Mhm.
writing. I'm not. I don't know. It's not the actual literal typing words down is not the writing. Hell,
Mhm.
this is basically writing what we're doing.
I mean, I agree with that. Like, I usually read a couple of books for research for any book I do, and that's writing. If I'm reading a book that, is kind of inspirational to me, that is writing. Because it all kind of helps you generate ideas and get what you want out of your book. Because if you don't expose yourself to other stuff, how are you ever going to create something new?
People always, I guess, especially non people who haven't published yet or who are
Mhm.
still early on, always when I tell them, "Oh yeah, I wrote a book," I put it aside. It's not good
Mhm.
enough. Like, yeah, it's okay. It's
Mhm.
okay. And they're like, what do you mean you put a book away?" I'm like, well, yeah, it's like 60, 70,000 words. It's not good enough. They're like, you spent, you wrote a whole book and you're not going to do anything with it. I'm like, no, probably not.
Mhm. I mean, I have two like that,
Yeah.
so I get it.
I have three or four, three, I think right now. Maybe one of them can be salvaged. And I
Mhm.
think that's the thing where you're like, you could take the parts you really like and
Mhm.
put it into a new thing,
Yeah.
or reconfigure it. That's always an option. Or you could, I don't know, this is the cold-hearted business part of it, where you could just give them away for free as part of which is, I have two books as newsletter magnets, as they say,
Mhm.
where you give them away for free, and if some people subscribe to your newsletter, they get that book,
Yeah.
and you're like, it's still a good book. And that requires less work. You don't
Sure.
have to. You're not, doing a big a publicity push.
Yeah.
You're not doing advanced reader copies. You're not doing, God, months of marketing.
Yeah. It's a big effort. It is a big effort. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like I've never done as much work as I should for releasing a book, and yet
Mm.
it's still so much work.
I know. I mean, the thing is you can always do more. You can always do more.
Don't say that?
Well, that's the hard thing. It's like studying for a test. You can always study more. But
Oh,
the end result is you're either going to do well or you're not. So you never really know. So I always say yes to any opportunity that comes my way. I'm like, why not?
yeah. I
But
mean, that's another good piece of advice for
Mhm.
people out there. Always say yes, even when you're like, I don't know about that. Just say yes, see what happens.
Yeah.
Um, I was also a bad studier. I was terrible at studying. I was
I
too.
studied probably too much. Probably doesn't surprise you.
I mean, not now. I guess it's I I I always relied on, like, oh, I'm a smart guy. I don't need to study. It'll be fine. And it mostly was. So I
Mhm.
guess it was. I didn't. Maybe I should have challenged myself more as a young man. That's usually the thing I actually learned. Um, so that is the thing you're editing now.
Mhm.
That at what point do you go, I'm moving on?
Okay, so I'm going to read the whole thing, make any changes I think need to be made, and then I give it to my beta reader, who is my mom. And some people's
That's
moms are like, everything you write is amazing. You're wonderful. My mom's not like that, and I'm glad because she'll tell me straight up, this is good or this sucks, throw it away. And one of my novels that I have set aside, two of them, in fact, she read them and said, these are not good enough. And you know what? I was upset, but she was right. So I put them aside. I don't know how she's going to feel about this when I'm editing now. If she tells me, she likes it, then I usually go forward because she reads everything I write. She is one of my target audience members, and she's not going to lie to me. She's not going to let me put out something that's bad. So if she says this can be salvaged, then I will go forward with it. If she says no, I'm going to move on.
Is your mom available as a paid beta reader?
If I had to pay for her, I could not afford her. I can tell you that.
Okay, that's fair enough. It's just there are moments and I'm like, what do I do with this?
Right? You
That's
need somebody to be brutally honest, and people who like you generally will not be brutally honest. My mom does like me, just to clarify, but she
I
loves
would
me
assume.
enough.
I would
She
assume
loves
they
me
will.
enough to not let me put out something that's not right.
Okay, I mean that is actually a deeper, harder relationship where you're like,
Totally.
I love you enough to tell you this doesn't have it.
Mhm.
It's not quite there,
Mhm.
and I think that is a bigger demonstration of love
Totally.
than saying, yeah, it was good, I
Yeah.
liked it. I'm like, well, okay, I don't, I liked it, but thanks, you're
Yeah.
very useful. Um, is that, and then after that, another manuscript after?
Yes. You mean what next project I have in the works?
Yeah, right.
Yes, my next one. So at some point, I want to write a sequel to Much Too Vulgar. But before then, I have kind of a play on a haunted house book that has been rumbling around in my mind. Very atypical type of haunted house, and that's probably the one I'll write next.
A lot of haunted house stories out now too. Like it feels like
Yeah.
that's another thing that's like really feels like there's lots of religious horror,
Mhm.
lots of haunted house stories, and lots of slashers. Feels like that's the
Yeah. Yeah. It comes in
zeitgeisty,
cycles, I think.
yeah, zeitgeisty stuff.
Mhm.
I mean, I think it's cosmic horror. I think there's a lot of cosmic horror out there too
Sure.
right now.
Mm.
Yeah, it's but they're all like I don't know, a lot of things about dread
Mhm.
and existential. I wonder why. I, you know, mystery, great
Yeah,
mystery
no
of our time.
idea.
Um, well, now I'm super excited about that lobotomy book.
Yay.
I was just watching. What was I just? I was just watching something about the Kennedys and the lobotomy story. And you're like,
Mhm.
and it's so tragic and
It
awful.
is, it is,
Yeah.
and the sad part is a lot of people did this because they thought it would help, and they didn't there was no nefarious intention on a lot of people's part. Some people, yes, I think there was, but in many cases, I just wanna feel better, and it's hard when, that's the opposite of how you're gonna feel, or you're just gonna be gone, you're gonna be hollowed out. You never know.
Oh gosh. Oh, okay. I'm already like bracing for the story. Um, Viggy, tell
Yeah.
people where they can find you online, where they can buy your books. Tell them all the stuff.
All the stuff. Okay, so I'm most active on Instagram and TikTok at Viggy Parr Hampton, both places. Facebook, also Viggy Parr Hampton. And then I have a website, viggyhampton.com. My books are available in ebook and paperback everywhere. And then A Cold Night for Alligators, my first book, is available on Audible. And then Much Too Vulgar and The Rotting Room are both in production now to be audiobooks, hopefully releasing in October.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I can't suggest Writing Room enough. I
Hmm.
know I've complimented it like 50 times today, but
I will take it.
I know it's more of like, hey, out there, go buy. I'm like, I do this every week. I'm like, go buy a book, man. Like, I don't know. It feels, I am, I make the joke that I'm a better book salesman than I'm a writer at a certain point. But this is my, hey, go buy.
Thank you.
It's
Everybody
the
needs a hype man.
Go buy books, man. They're good books. Go buy them. And it's also like just incredibly novel, incredibly
Thank you.
gross. And I don't know. I it doesn't pull punches, which is my favorite thing about it. Like don't come at me with no soft crap. All right. I don't want none of this. Oh, it's sweet and gentle nuns. No, 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 no. They're
Mhm.
disgusting at its best.
Mhm.
Viggy, thank you for appearing on my show.
Thank you. This is so much fun.